Yes, this is me, Hudson George, man. Just doing a little live, you know what I'm saying? So my live today is about Garrison politics in Grenada. The history of Garrison politics in Grenada started with the colored people, the mixed race people, or mulattoes, or how you want to call them those days. Garrison politics started in Grenada in the late 1700s. Now, one of the problems that caused garrison politics in Grenada was that there were free coloreds, or what you call mulattoes, or people who look white, but they were not 100% white. So they had a higher status than the black people, right? Today, what we call colorism is the same. So if you mix race, like I was listening to a black Canadian woman was saying today, she's a hockey player, and she said, they ask her, how you consider your race? She said, I'm biracial black. So she said the reason why she says she is biracial black, she wouldn't be accepted as white by white people. So she's a biracial black, right? But she admit that being biracial give her more privilege than typical black people, or authentic black people, right? So she's honest. So let me go back to what I'm saying now. Yes, so Garrison politics started with the colored people. Now, some coloreds had land and some didn't have. So whilst black people were in slavery, fighting to get away from slavery, so the free coloreds had privilege. So those days wasn't education and who is lawyer, doctor, economist, mathematician. Those days was not like that. More land you have status in society. So Julian Fedor and his brother Jean had land. So how they get the land? Maybe the French father give them the land because they had a black mother. So they had maybe a good French slave master. He make them with a black woman, so he give them some land, right? But some of the free colors didn't have land. For example, Louis La Grenada hardly had land. He didn't have a lot of land, maybe 2 or 3 acres or 5. But he was a free guy, living better than black people, and he had plenty girlfriend, concubine, and thing. You know, I mean, he was living good, but he didn't have large acreage as Julian Fedor and Jean Fedor. And Louis La Grenade co-partner now was a guy called Victor Labarrie. That's why you have a place in St. Paul's called Labarrie today. They didn't have a lot of land before. They had a couple acres. And some black ladies screwing, right? They had privilege, screwing some nice black girls, or they choose, or the slaves too, because they call them owners. So one of the things that caused the Federal Rebellion is that Louis La Grenade and Victor Labarrie, they wanted some land too. So they take a bribe from the British. So Louis La Grenade had the first political garrison in Grenada. We just talk about political garrison in Jamaica. Grenada is the first country in the Caribbean, slave country, that had political garrison by non-white non-white people. The free colored was mixed race. So the British give Louis La Grenade Sr. weapons to create a political garrison. But the area where they based was both St. Paul's and Laborie, and Montjalou area and the town of St. George. So if you look at the people who defending the Maurice Bishop Revolution today, they come from that area, most of them. Still. So nothing haven't changed much. Right? Follow my history I give it. So what happened now is that they're going to try to tell you Gairy had Mongoose gang. Yes, was true. The Mongoose gang was what? They were a garrison too. So Gairy is the first black man to have a garrison. So why is this mixed race people who telling you they're revolutionary and they were the first people at garrison? So Maurice Bishop grandparents are the ones who are the first garrisons in Grenada. Louis La Grenade Sr., and when he died in the early 1800, and his son Louis La Grenade Jr. continue holding that militia garrison in St. George until slavery was abolished. Right? So they had a legacy of, and their own title like lieutenant. Laborie was part on it, he get his share too. Right? So this is history. So when we talk about the Mongoose gang and Gairy, yes, it was a garrison. We couldn't name place in Grenada, we could say, are dealing with garrisons today, political garrison. So we had places like Byland, Montreach, notable place, where Gairy had strong guys who will fight for him. I just use that too as example. And your other place, don't leave out Munich a bit or other place you could say, but let us say Byland and Montreach was the too strong. Oh, Waltham, St. Mark. I went in Jewel Rally in Victoria and we came under guerrilla attack. The Gairy people were following us on the trail of Waltham over where is the bus passing below and it's big stone we get in. Right? We go in Jewel. Somebody gets stabbed when we reach in Victoria Town on King Street. A man called Mr. Sandy was stabbed by one of Gairy people. Right? So I just breaking it down. One they're trying to tell you, Gairy create Mongoose gang. Yes, Gairy had his boys. But the first garrisons in Grenada was created by the free colored. The planter, what end up the planter class. So Gairy come back later with his garrisons. They counter the planter class because Gairy take land from the planter and give to the estate workers whose ancestors were slaves. They didn't own land. And the free colored, they didn't buy land, they were given land by the British and the French. Right? So what we gonna say? Gairy settled the score. So don't let them fool you with that history. Now you read history of Jamaica, they talk about garrisons in Jamaica. Yes, it is there. And it's rough if you read people tell about garrisons, PNP, JLP garrison. But Grenada is the oldest garrisons in the Caribbean, political garrisons. Then now, to fast forward, after the free colored had the garrisons and they controlled the large plantation, so the plantocracy was built on garrison. Right? Then Gairy come contact them in 1951 and he created his garrison too. But now Garrison came back again. In 1972, 1973, the Jewel movement was formed in St. David, Vincent. And the jewel didn't call there's Garrison, they call it jewel cells. But as the jewel gets stronger, those cells became Garrison. So Vincent's is the original jewel Garrison, with men like Teddy Victor, Joseph Granger, and some other names I can't remember in my head now. Right? But it so happened that jewel later spread to Tivoli. Tivoli become one of the, in St. Andrews, become the strongest garrison even before the revolution took place. Gairy was scared of that area. While Byland remained Gairy and Montreat remained Gairy. But Byland was losing his steam, but Montreat never lose its steam. But Byland garrison was getting weaker. So then you had Tivoli, then you had Hermitage. I'm from Hermitage. I could go in detail. Hermitage is a jewel garrison too. Right? Then you had it in Sotters too, right? Because there used to be war between Montreat and Sotters people. So there was a garrison in Sotters too. So these places and Lafayette area, Paradise Lafayette, had what we could call a garrison too for the jewel. So this jewel, I would say St. David's, Vincent, St. David's, moved to Tivoli, Lafayette, Paradise Stretch, Lafayette Stretch, Hermitage, and Sotters. I could name them. But other places, what came after, that was when revolution took place. So the jewel had the garrison too, but they call it party cells. I remember as a jewel, and they tell us we join the party cell and you get your card number, right? But later, as things more come for the revolution, it was garrison, right? So St. Paul's didn't really have that garrison, the revival of garrison in St. Paul's now, because St. Paul's was part of Louis La Grenada and Victor Labary garrison in the time of the Free Colored. So when Maurice Bishop joined the jewel movement, the restoration of St. Paul's garrison came back. So when the revolution took place now, 1 year after the revolution, and Maurice Bishop consolidated his power with the Cubans, get rid of the Guyanese soldier, and he have enough arms, he crushed the jewel garrisons. Right? So we could also say Fedor had a garrison too, because he was fighting the British. So he had arms. He too had a garrison. And he owned land, he and his brother. But Louis La Grenade and Victor Labary didn't have a lot of land and they wanted more land. As Free Colored, right? So going back to Maurice Bishop now, he restored garrison in St. Paul's. So St. Paul's become a garrison again. Another place where the jewel had some strength was in the Bolio area with the Ambadiki era. So we had to add that part too, Bolio, to some point. But let us focus on St. Paul's now. So St. Paul's became a garrison again, because this is Maurice Bishop territory. So when Maurice Bishop went to Cuba and he get the arms and he make a deal with Castro, and he crushed the jewel. He crushed, but it's so funny, he was able to crush the St. David's jewel garrison easier than he crushed the Tivoli garrison. He got resistance in Tivoli. And then it so happened politically that even though Montreal garrison was a Gulf garrison, Montreal garrison become sympathetic to the Tivoli people. And you have to accept it. They all come from working class area. And the history of the African people towards the colored oppressor. You understand? So in Montreal people head, they were still fighting. When they look at Maurice Bishop, they still seeing that colored man planter, white attacking revolution. That didn't ever trickle to them up to today. So when they go about telling you now that Gairy had Mongoose gang, yes, Gairy had his garrison. But garrison politics started in Grenada with the free colored, the planter class. And then when the British fully take Grenada, what they did, they put police station where the plantocracy live. So the British legitimate those garrison into the police service. Because here we had police in Grenada. Now we're doing some history. None of them academians and them come and fool all you in Grenada, youths, and telling you about how Gairy the bad and Gairy the bad. They must give you the history. It's politics. Now, when the British now had police station, they check the toughest areas in Grenada, the most rebellious area. Right? In the colonial days, the big parish St. Andrew had 2 police stations in Grenville Town and Butch Grove. But why they had one, not 3, sorry, 3 police stations. Sorry, 3. They have Grenville Police Station, the town of Grenville in Big Parish. They have Butch Grove Police Station, and they had a police station in Grenada. So 3 police stations under the British colonialism. In St. George Parish, they had 2 police stations. One on the fort and one in St. Paul's. But St. Patrick had the most police station. So, it reflects now, you could tell why St. Patrick's had the most police station. When the British, if you read Grenada handbook, St. Patrick's had the most rebellious people in Grenada after the Federal Revolution. So St. Patrick's had 1 police station in Hermitage, St. Patrick, 1 in Sutterstown, and 1 in Union, down Shantimel Hill, border in St. Patrick's, and then you cross over into St. Mark. So St. Patrick's have 3 police stations. St. Mark had 1 in the town of Victoria, and there is 1 in Guave town. But in those areas where out of the town where the British post the police station, they put it where the planters were, the plantocrat. So the police station was also to protect the big planter. So Butch Grove was if you read Grenada history, Butch Grove was called a village town. Hermitage was a village town. Hermitage St. Patrick. So they had police station there. Then you had the Fergusons and them holding all the estate there in St. Patrick. So they put one in going on Samaritan Hill, Shantimel Hill. We call it Union Police Station in St. Patrick. It one there. So that one had to monitor St. Patrick, but also you go monitor St. Mark. You catch it? St. Paul's is also a proprietary area too with land. So St. Paul's had 1. Then St. David had ones in the central day, had a police station. And I'm not too sure, there was a police station in Penmuta, I'm not too sure. I know there is a medical station. But anyway, I'm not too sure. So I just give you the history of how they have it in Grenada. And then now they have police station in Carriacou, but Pity Matnik didn't have until Kit Mitchell put one there. Right? So we have to look at the history. But then Gairy now come back and he do like the Collard in the later half when the Jew will start threatening him with the militia too, with the garrison. Gairy had more police station. So by the time the revolution take place, there was a police. Gairy had one more police station in by Chublu, plus the army barracks that is in town. Then in St. Andrew, he had a police station in Conference. We don't say Tivoli, but it's Conference. And additionally, when the British built Paul's Airport, there was a police station in Paul's Airport. Right? So St. Andrew, it wasn't Gairy put it there. I think it was put there when the British built the airport in the colonial days. So, okay. So you have to look at how everything goes. So then Gairy come now, St. Patrick had him, and then Gairy had one or two police up in a place called John Sandy, lower down Kublal. Wasn't anything big, but he had a few there. But then St. Patrick still have the most police station. When they study the toughest people in Grenada, which is true. Although Tivoli had the strongest garrison, but the politicians are always suspicious of St. Patrick. Gairy put police in Batway, and he put in a place called Observatory. Some people say it's Montrose, but it's Observatory, and sometimes people call the place Degas. So then Grenada come and have more and more garrisons until March 13 morning, Gairy was overthrown. Right? So what Maurice Bishop did when he consolidated power with Castro, he crushed the Jewel movement people garrisons. Because when they move the soldiers from Paul's, I was there too when Maurice and when the PRG move us out, they disarm all the militias in the country. So they crossed the Jewel, but they didn't cross St. David earlier. I don't know why they wasn't able to cross St. David so easy, right? So when we read our history, if you're young and you're going to listen to all those Dr. this and Dr. that, them professor ladies and them professor men and them, be careful with what they're telling you. Don't let them tell you Gairy was the first guy who armed Grenada with civilian. Was the free color, the plantocrats, were the one. And when the British take over Grenada, every police station was in an area to protect the plantocrat. Hermitage was the first village in Grenada where black people buy land. And Montjalou after. And any other place come after. Hermitage, St. Patrick's. Black people buy land. And just the other day I was talking to somebody and I observed that Hermitage Estate was one owned by was the Flemings Estate and Montreal Estate and them places. And the Fleming owned some estate, Mont Saint Bernard Mountain in a place called GruGru-Baily over Kubari up there. Kubari cross into St. Andrew side. You know. So when we if you are a young person, don't go and let these people fool you, because they go only teach you, tell you about revolution and anti-imperialism, but they're not genuine to our black struggle in Grenada. So if they're genuine, they mustn't cover up the free-colored story. Because you as black people, if you get to know the free-colored was had the first militia in Grenada to oppress you, you won't accept. They want to make Maurice Bishop a hero. And even though they can make revolution again, but they want to leave a stamp behind. And we have some young people in power, and maybe they don't understand those history. You got to read to know Grenada history. So yes, Gairy did what he did, but the planter, the free-colored who enslave us, they used to own us as slaves and demand all women and screw them and make babies. They were the first people who owned garrisons in Grenada. So don't only drink the story about the Mongoose gang, the Mongoose gang. Yes, these things were there, but planter crash. Julian Fedor had his, the La Grenada had theirs, the Labaris had theirs, because those days the free-colored status was to own a lot of land and to have a lot of black women as concubine and make babies. You understand? So, and they own you as their slave. So when the sugarcoating come in and tell you about imperial, I don't really trust them up to today. You know, I don't live with no thing against any group of people, but I don't buy this anti-imperialistic once they come telling me about the Gairy era, I'm suspicious. Give us the true story. And you have some black educated people who join into it. They say they're progressive and them is socialist. And they want to beat you on Facebook too. Want to fight with you. You understand? So I just given my little bit of history on Grenada and Garrison politics. Grenada is the first English-speaking Caribbean country to have political garrison, because we experienced 4 political uprisings. But they only want to write about 3, but it's not 3, it's 4. And we could say 5 too. You had the Federal Rebellion, betrayed by the La Grenades and the Labari in town. Then we had the Gairy Revolution. Skyride was a revolution because Gairy succeeded. It lasts from 1951 to 1979. Then you had the Jewel, NJM Jewel, but he lasts 1 year. The Jewel was overthrown in around April 1980, when Bishop and the PRG crushed the PRA army and bringing little boys who don't even know how to tie their shoelace. They now start wearing underpants. And they become the biggest revolutionaries after, right? So that was a coup d'etat. That was a rebellion. All this thing happened, bomb blast, and all them kind of thing. Guerrilla fighting in St. Patrick and all them thing. Right? Then we come now, we have, when things settle down, you have the Bishop and Code fight again. October 1979. That's the next one. Then a couple days after, 6 days later, you had the American invasion. So right now, Grenada don't have no political garrisons again. But it so happened the effect of Grenada politics create the SSU. Right? So the SSU was created as a security force to crush rebellion in the OECS. All because of Grenada. You understand? So we have American, although we have a British police service, but the SSU is a kind of American army in the Caribbean to crush rebellions. So if you're young and you're interested in revolution and you love Grenada and you want to know, especially if you're black like me, learn your history correct. If not, you're going to be fooled. Gairy didn't start Garrison politics in Grenada. It's the free-colored, the mulattoes and big landowners mulattoes who started it in collaboration with the French or the British. Because the mulatto man is not a black man. Don't let them in America they tell you the mulatto man is a black man. He's not a black man. American racism is worse than all other racism. They're pretending that they disown the mulattoes, but it's not true because they still give them preferential treatment in media, in jobs. They still have an edge over black people, even though they're telling them in America, if you're not white, you're black. That's nonsense. When they're looking for America top models, they don't look for the blackest women. They look for those what is the family. Right? So they let it trick you with that. So anyway, this is me, Hudson George. I gone till I come again. This is my end. This is just to enlighten people to understand the history of Grenada and don't be fooled by all these people who tell you them is progressive politics and you have black people in it and everybody, but they're hiding something from you. You must know the story good. It's not everything didn't start. All the negative didn't start with Gairy, but Gairy is almost part of the history. And if we want to tell the history, don't tell the history like if Gairy was the bad guy and all the other guys was good guy. Anyway, that's a lie. If they're telling you Gairy was the bad guy. Gairy did a lot of good things too. The free color never give black people nothing. Right? They didn't give you nothing. The plantocrat didn't give you nothing either. At least Gairy had the mongoose, but you still get something. Who get a couple acres of land, affirmative action, and all kind of thing. Anyway, a little bit of black power. Anyway, I gone till I come again. This is me, Hudson George, as usual. Fearless, but not careless. I just telling my story. I gone till I come again.